Hi there. Today we're going to discuss terminating and repeating decimals. I want you to start following along on page 264. So what will we learn today? Today we're going to write fractions as decimals, and we're going to write decimals as fractions. Vocabulary you need to know for today: repeating decimal, bar notation, and terminating decimal. I want you to take the time to write down your vocabulary in your notebooks. Example 1. Write 74 over 100 as a decimal. We're going to use place value to write an equivalent decimal. The fun part about having denominators and powers of 10, like 10, 100, 1,000, is that you can use place value to write the decimal equivalent. So 74 over 100 is read as 74 hundredths. So we know that 74 hundredths is written as 0.74. So 74 over 100 is 0.74. Example 2, write 7 over 20 as a decimal. Again, I said earlier that any denominator that's a power of 10 can be easily converted using place value. Here, we can kind of easily create 7 over 20 as a fraction with a denominator of 100 using what we know about equivalent fractions. So 7 over 20 we know is 35 over 100, and that's read as 35 hundredths. So 7 over 20 is equivalent to 0.35 or 35 hundredths. So even if the denominator isn't a power of 10, it can easily be converted if it has a denominator of like 5, 20, 10, okay? All right, so we're going to move on to example number 3. Write 5 3/4 as a decimal. So what you want to do is when you have a mixed number, you can think of it as a sum. There's a whole number, and then there is a fraction. Okay, so all you really have to do is kind of convert the fraction because the whole number goes before the decimal. So 5 plus 3/4, and 3/4 is 0.75, which we already know. So that equals 5.75. So 5 3/4 equals 5.75. Example 4, write 3/8 as a decimal. So here, we're actually going to use division for this strategy because the denominator 8 doesn't easily convert into a power of 10, like 10 or 100. So we're going to divide. So the top number goes inside the division symbol, the bottom number goes outside. So the thing you have to remember about this is you have to keep on adding zeros and keep on dividing until either you get a pattern or you stops, or the number stops, you get a remainder of 0. So here we put our decimal on top. 30 is divisible by 8 3 times, and then we had a remainder of 6. Drop down another 0. 60 is divisible by 8 7 times. We subtracted 56 from 60. We got a remainder of 4. So again, we have to drop down another 0. And then 40 is divisible by 8 5 times. And when we have our remainder of 0 is where we stop, or if there's a pattern. So 3/8 equals 0.375. Example 5, write negative 1/40 as a decimal. What you want to do is kind of leave the negative off to the side while you're doing the division and kind of bring it back later. So here we're dividing 1 divided by 40. Again, we put our 1 inside the house, put the decimal on top. So 10 is not divisible by 40. That's why we had 0. So then we drop down. Then 100 divided by 40 is 2. Kept going. We had a remainder of 20. So we had to add another 0 because we had a remainder. And then 200 divided by 40 is 5. So here we had to keep on going until our remainder was 0 or we found a pattern. So negative 1 over 40 equals 0.025, negative 0.025. Here's example number 6. Write 7/9 as a decimal. Again, the top number is, the numerator is going inside the house. The denominator, the bottom number, is going outside of the house. Again, we put our decimal right after the 7, also put it on top. Now here, if you'll notice, when we started dividing, 70 divided by 9 was 7, so we had a remainder of 7s. We had to drop down another 0 because we didn't have a remainder of 0. And if you notice, we just kept on getting the remainder of 7. And notice that the division will never terminate in 0. So this is what we call a repeating decimal, because in the quotient, the numbers are repeating. So we just use bar notation with that. So 7/9 equals 0.7 repeating, or 0.7 and the bar over the 7 on top. Okay, here's our last example. Find the fraction of the fish in the aquarium that are goldfish. Write in simplest form. So again, we're looking for goldfish. So we have 0.15. And when you're reading 0.15, it's 15 hundredths. So you know that this number 15 goes over the hundreds. So the digit 5 is in the hundredths place, so it's 15 over 100. And then remember, whenever you have a fraction, remember to simplify all the time. So 3 over 20. So 3 over 20 of the fish are goldfish. Okay, I hope that video was helpful. Thank you. Bye.